Good afternoon, I'm Vashan Brown with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. The Health Ministry is reporting that it is seeing an increase in dengue-related deaths and hospitalization. Head of the National Vector Control Program, Shireen Huntley-Jones, says it's this time of the year that they see an increase in the numbers, and therefore she's reiterating calls for persons to immediately seek medical attention once they have dengue-like symptoms. TVJ's Shamela Pullen reports.
The Minister of Health says more than 5,400 cases of dengue have been reported in Jamaica so far this year. Head of the National Vector Control Program, Shireen Huntley-Jones, says between October and February is usually the time when they see an increase in the number of dengue cases. Mrs. Huntley-Jones says the results from this can be very serious.
This is because in Jamaica we have had all 4 stereotypes circulating at one time or the other. And the data shows us that once persons have been exposed to one or more types of dengue, they're more predisposed to getting the more severe form. And so because our population at large have been exposed to more than one type, going forward, we're going to see increasingly an increase in the number of persons who are going to be hospitalized, and unfortunately, in the number of persons that may, if not detected early, that may end up dying.
Mrs. Huntley-Jones says despite the warnings, some Jamaicans are still waiting until the symptoms become severe to seek medical treatment. It's why she's urging persons once they experience dengue-like symptoms to reach the nearest healthcare facility.
We're asking parents to be observant because sometimes we're finding that it's when it seems as if the fever has broken that the child plummets into a more severe form. So even if the fever breaks, because it's dengue fever, so the illness is accompanied by fever. But sometimes after the fever breaks, but the child is not resolving or the child is not coming back to his or her normal self, seek medical attention. It is very critical.
Meanwhile, vector control measures are continuing to try and reduce the spread of the virus.
The ministry is going to be continuing the engagement of the 1,100 temporary workers who have been engaged to conduct treatment across the island in our high-risk communities, and they will continue to do so down into December and probably on into March of next year. In addition to that, we have ramped up our fogging activities, so the Ministry of Health teams across the island, they have been fogging 7 days per week in response to where we are having cases confirmed, and secondarily in our high-risk communities.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
A man who was on the St. Thomas Police Most Wanted list was this morning shot and killed during an alleged shootout with lawmen. He's been identified as Garfield Wright, otherwise called Foodie. According to police reports, about 5:30 this morning, a police team was in the Spring Garden community when Mr. Wright allegedly opened fire at the police. Now the fire was returned and Mr. Wright was later found with gunshot wounds. A firearm was recovered from him. He was wanted by the St. Thomas Police for the illegal possession of firearm, shooting with intent and wounding with intent. There's a call this afternoon for the relevant authorities to move with urgency in building a new courthouse in Manchester following damage to the parish court by fire last week. Justice of the Peace Vivienne Morris Brown, who worked regularly in the courts, argued that the Mandeville courthouse has long outgrown its capacity to deal with the volume of persons who use it.
I would like to think of this as an act of God, because it really provides an opportunity for the powers that be, those persons who make and implement the decisions for change and for the future. It is an important opportunity for them to look at optionals and optional means of providing for the court system, the justice system here in Manchester. This is a good time to replace what has been lost in the courthouse, repair it as much as possible, restore it to its former glory, but move the justice, move the court system out of the courthouse. The needs and the work that it is required to do now, that's way beyond what it was required to do when it was first constructed.
Speaking with TVJ News on Sunday, Mrs. Brown Morris says another issue is the manner in which files are being kept at the courthouse.
Walking into the courthouse, the files, the old files are bulging. This is not an institution that has become digitized yet, which is unfortunate. And so I have been able to observe those challenges with people coming into the courthouses. People can hardly find places to sit. And if for some sittings, they just have to wait outside until their cases are called. And even so, the accommodation outside is not what it really ought to be.
Now, last week, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck said the government was moving ahead with plans to relocate the courthouse. He said, though finding land has been a major setback, progress was being made. The leadership of the Jamaica Labour Party JLP is being taken to task over its selection of a candidate to represent the party in St. Thomas. Now, following the recent staging of the party's Era 2 council meeting at the Paul Bogle High School in the parish, a number of party supporters expressed disappointment with the selection of the councillor, Dr. Michelle Charles.
We are now sending a message to Party Central that we are not accepting a candidate in the name of Michelle Charles to represent East St. Thomas.
We're just tired of them sending persons to us when election call and they lose. We're not seeing them anymore. We're on our own basically, right? We're just tired of that.
They told the TVJ News that it is high time they are given the responsibility in selecting their candidate.
Time now for us to choose who we want and support who we want. Whether right in our backyard, when we want them, we can't find them. We're tired of it. We're tired of them prescribing pills for us. We are stopping with truth. We don't want it no more. We are support with one. That's what we are saying right now.
Opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips says if the People's National Party PNP forms the next government, it will ensure people in rural areas who live and work on lands for a certain period get their titles. Dr. Phillips was addressing a PNP conference in Kellett's Clarendon last night.
You have plenty of people, including here in North Clarendon, they on the land and say a family land. And it is family land. They've lived on it 100 years in some case. Generation upon generation, but them don't have the title, the piece of paper that guarantee that no one can come and move them. We intend to engage in the most comprehensive and wide-scale land titling project ever in the history of Jamaica, because we said we dare too long, we work too hard, we sweat and we give blood for this country of ours.
And it's now time for a break, but stay with us. More stories right after these messages. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Continuing the news now. A defiant defense this afternoon to the government's 2030 vision from St. Anne's Bay Mayor Michael Belnavis. For him, persons are only focusing on the negatives in their assessment of the targets. More in this report from TVJ's Dwayne Anderson.
The 2030 vision to make Jamaica the place to live, work, raise families and do business has been scoffed at by many as a pipe dream. But for St. Anne's Bay Mayor Michael Belnavis, the pathway to Vision 2030 is getting clearer. But to see this, he feels more persons need to start looking at the positives. For him, the marked improvements in the society include...
Just a few years ago, people are always on TV calling and asking for justice, want more justice. Today, that is not so much the call. Throughout all the zozos that they are doing throughout the country, we haven't had any situations where human rights have been abused. So we're making good threadways towards our 2030 objective.
Education is another area in which Mayor Belnavis feels great strides have been made by the authorities towards achieving Vision 2030, particularly with the removal of fees at the infant, primary and secondary levels. The mayor was keen to stress education since he was addressing beneficiaries of scholarships at an award ceremony at the Moon Palace Hotel in St. Anne. The hotel donated more than $3.8 million to 9 university master's students this year, in the hope they will reinvest their skills and time in Jamaica.
For which much is given, much is expected. And I believe that you are given this opportunity. So the Moon Palace is not necessarily looking to get something back from you directly. but they're looking for you to make a contribution to Jamaica, the country in which you went to school and the country in which most of you, I believe every one of you here, have been born in. So it is important for you to recognize that you have to give back to the country of your birth.
Dwayne Anderson, TVJ News.
Parents of students attending Homestead Primary School in St. Catherine are this afternoon taking issue with the school's principal. They say they are not satisfied with how they are treated by the principal. The parents, in a bid to have their concerns heard, staged a protest outside the school compound.
The principal lacks professionalism. She's vulgar. She does not know how to speak to people, including the parents. The parents have a concern, and so does the well-wishers of the community.
Now, another concern relates to meal preparation at the school.
Oh, you can't have a kitchen staff when 20 pounds in rice a feed the dog. Children are somebody who love meat, and if you're cooking meat, they're not even eat it. Same as you share out your lunch, same as you go pick you up in a dog food. Government money not supposed to waste like that. We need better kitchen staff.
And the food not cooking good, because my daughter not eating the food. Sometimes she don't eat the dry food or gas the car. She don't want it to eat.
More parents are coming to.
Them need to do better.
Now, one parent recounted an instance of her child getting sick at the school.
My son go to Homestead Infant.
Okay.
Right, and over there he catch hand, foot and mouth disease.
How long ago was that?
Right, hand, foot and mouth.
How long ago?
Right, that was around 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to run with him go to children. Yeah. And I so come to know say that thing because all along first he catch it on him belly. I think a mosquito bite him up over there. You understand me? So he start spread all over on him hand and him foot and him mouth.
They are now calling for the principal to resign with immediate effect. While our camera was on location, representatives from the Ministry of Education came on the scene to hear the complaints of the parents. Now, we tried to get a comment from the school's principal. However, we were told that she was not available. Jamaicans are being urged to consume more locally produced foods in a bid to reduce the country's high import bill. Last year, the bill stood at just over $900 million. The renewed call came at the launch of the Eat Jamaica Month 2019, held at Mega Mart in Kingston on Friday. President of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, Lenworth Fulton, said the focus of the campaign this year is to promote Buy Jamaican.
We need to take a new look at the business proposition presented by non-food agriculture products and material, such as bamboo, lumber, cotton, thatch, that is used all over the hotel industry, horticulture, cannabis, pharmaceuticals, etc. These are as important for our foreign exchange earning as any. And other horticultural products too, which will make food more palatable.
In the meantime, Chief Technical Director in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, Monique Gibbs, noted that eating Jamaican will impact the growth of the economy.
Eating Jamaican, as you know, has many advantages. One of the most critical of these is the potential impact doing so can have on our economy. Buying more Jamaican, eating more Jamaican, and exporting more Jamaican value-added products will certainly have a positive impact on our economy.
Meanwhile, Mr. Fulton is calling for the Agriculture Ministry to deal with issues affecting the local production of ginger. Currently, he says farmers of the crop have to be battling the rhizome rot, which is costing them a lot.
That government need to take up, because there was the preparation of clean planting material through the SRC and Bodles and RADA. I think that program need to be continued, but it needs funding, so that when you're planting ginger, you get clean planting material. And also they just open a seed bank at Bodles, which is 25, 30 years late.
At the same time, the JS president is warning farmers to desist from planting ginger.
We are advising ginger farmers not to plant their crop unless they have it tested that it is free from rhizome rot. No, it doesn't affect the taste of the ginger, but is a fungal disease that affects the soil. So it affects other root crops. So if you plant yam or dasheen in there, you have deformity.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force has officially launched its quick response unit for Western Jamaica in Montego Bay on Friday. Now 27 police from Trelawney, St. James, Hanover and Westmoreland completed a 6-week quick response training course. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson said training should become the culture of the JCF.
Automatic, that training is always taking place somewhere and with some people, and that nobody remains out of training indefinitely. At some point, you work, we pull you back into training, we sharpen your skills, we enhance those skills, and we put you back out there. That's the cycle. And we're working on institutionalizing that, getting the culture of training as part of what we do.
The Commissioner says the new unit comes just in time for the Christmas season. The new unit will be outfitted with motorcycles to aid members in their duties. In the meantime, Deputy Commissioner Clifford Blake revealed that more courses and training are being offered to police officers.
There's a driving course going on in Dengue with 31 persons, and that driving course also with the instructors. Again, I inquired the cost of training. I know that a lot of money is going into that training. What you are seeing happening here, a lot of training is taking place. It means we are equipping you to provide better service to the public.
And time now for sports. Reggae Boys head coach Theodore Whitmore is hoping the Jamaica Football Federation will do more to help improve the national team's performances going forward. The country has seen its best rankings in over 8 years, but he's not resting on the team's laurels. More in this report from Daniel Blake.
The Reggae Boys' dominance in League B of the CONCACAF Nations League has seen them jump to 45 in the world and third in the region. However, head coach Theodore Tapper Whitmore isn't fully happy with the current state of the program. Speaking on TVJ's Ion Sports recently, Whitmore says he wants the JFF to do more in terms of the technical aspect.
We need some simple things. It might sound simple, but we need to track our players. We need to tape in our session. Again, it can't be a training session finished now. And I'm saying to Jermaine, this is what you keep doing on the field. Where is the proof? Now it's for us now to sit down as a technical team where we can cut and do everything and come and show Jermaine. Say, Jermaine, this is not any word of mouth.
Right.
This is what you keep doing. But I can come here and talk to Jermaine all I want, and Jermaine must believe because Jermaine goes say, but coach, that not happen. Right. Where is the proof? Right. So some simple little things.
But despite his issues, Whitmore wants to continue moving forward.
We don't like to complain. You know, we just want to work and work with what we have and hope the stakeholders, everybody could see the work that and come on board and join us for us to be successful 2020 and beyond.
Whitmore in the past has been critical of local Premier League coaches for not cooperating with him. But things are now different as they seek to improve football in the country.
Every month we try to have a coaches forum. Even yesterday, we had one, because I don't want the coaches to feel like the program belongs to Tapper or the program belongs to Ricketts or Win. You know, it's for all of us. Right. And they are the one of the players week in, week out. Right. So it's for us now to bring it to them, to tell them, listen to me, listen, the players are not stepping up. We need, and to be honest, you started to see improvement where that is concerned.
The Reggae Boys will return to action later this week when they take on Antigua and Barbuda on Friday before hosting Guyana next Monday. Daniel Blake, TVJ Sports.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Vashon Brown. Join us at 7 for Primetime News Package. On behalf of the News, Sports and Production teams, have a good afternoon.